Elvis was directed by Baz Luhrmann. It stars Austin Butler and Tom Hanks. And I'm very excited to give you guys my review for this movie. But real quick before I do, if you're new here, be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Now let's get into my review for Elvis. So I really enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. And it was cool to learn a bit more about Elvis Presley because obviously I knew who he was. I've heard some of his songs. I knew that he died young, but I didn't know too much other than that basic stuff. So this movie, while obviously not 100% accurate, it does things just to make it more entertaining for the audience. It was cool to learn a bit more about actually what happened with Elvis Presley in his career. And I didn't actually realize how tragic it was. So it was, while this movie overall was fun, it was still like sad at times and surprising because I've not known of his situation to happen to a lot of other people. I'm sure it has, but not to too many people that I know of. Obviously there's typical things, you know, like the drugs and all that, but there's other stuff that happens with the character Colonel Parker, played by Tom Hanks, that I had no idea about. So that was very interesting to learn about, and like I said, tragic at times. But the performances in this were really good. Austin Butler was great as Elvis Presley, and his singing was really good. Tom Hanks as Colonel Parker I thought was really good as well. And I think the performances across the board were really good. I thought this movie also had quite a unique directional style to it compared to a lot of other biopic movies that I've seen. It was very noticeable at the start of this movie, just the way the director sort of transitioned through scenes, or was the way they cut through like time and places. Like in one scene you'd be seeing Elvis like at 3 different stages of his life, and it'd go by really fast, and you have scenes that would have panels on the screen. You have like 3 panels of 3 different things going on. So I thought that was an interesting choice. I did think in the first act it was kind of distracting, kind of in your face, just because I wasn't expecting that. But once I got into the movie a bit more, was used to it, it was fine. But at the start, it was kind of just in your face and just wasn't what I was expecting. There were a couple choices as well that I wasn't as a fan of. Like, there'd be times when music was playing and it would be like modernized, like modern music, and it just felt off for a movie on Elvis Presley where a lot of it's taking place in the 50s and 60s and 70s. That it just felt off, so I didn't like that decision. But the other ones, wow, in your face at the start, the decisions for the directional style after a while got used to, and it was alright. The first act I think was the weakest act overall, because the first act, Elvis Presley was obviously there, but he felt more like a secondary character for at least a part of the first act, more focused on Colonel Parker. So it took a little while to be invested in Elvis Presley because of that, and the fact that the movie was moving really fast through time, just jumping all over the place. But after a while it sort of slows down and you get more invested in Elvis Presley, and from there on I thought it was great. Movie is a little long. It's 2 hours 39 minutes. I think it could have been a little shorter, taking out a few scenes or shortened some scenes. Those are my main issues. There's some bad CGI in this as well. But those are my main issues with this movie. But other than that, it was really good. I think this is another really good biopic movie. The music's really good. Austin Butler does a really good job of singing in this, and from what I read, in the parts of the movie where Elvis is younger, it is fully Austin Butler singing. And in later parts of the movie, when Elvis is supposed to be older, they sort of combine his voice with, I guess, recordings of the real Elvis Presley to make it sound more accurate, but still like it is Austin Butler singing. I thought that worked really well. Some of the makeup too, like the prosthetics that you use at times on Austin Butler as Elvis Presley's getting older, and on Tom Hanks as the Colonel, I thought were really good. They did a really good job with that. And yeah, this movie, like I said, while long for the most part, it did hold my attention. There were a couple times sort of in the later parts where I started to, check my phone, but for the most part, it held my attention very well. Another thing that I really liked about this movie, and I think it has to do with the directorial style of this movie, is that it just felt very energetic. Maybe sort of like how Elvis was when he was performing with his unique dance, if that's what you would call it. But the movie feels energetic. Like, for the most part, it moves pretty fast. You know, towards the end it slows a little bit, but it moves pretty fast. Compared to other biopics or movies based on true stories, sometimes they're kind of slow and by the numbers. But this one, I found it did a good job of standing out and being unique. It, you know, had its typical tropes at times, but like I said, did find a way to stand out. It felt very energetic, if that makes sense. It just, this movie is full of energy. And yeah, for me, it was a really fun movie. It was a good time. It can be tragic at times when you learn about Elvis Presley. If you know a lot about him, you already know this stuff. Some of the stuff you may not like, because movies like this always take liberties on bending the truth or changing things just to make it a bit more entertaining for the audience. So for people who don't know much about Elvis's history, wouldn't catch up on those or catch on to those, but people who do know a lot will notice those and maybe not like that. But you sort of have to go with it with these kind of movies, because they always do that. But yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. The songs in this were fun to listen to. The singing was good. The acting was all really good. And yeah, I thought this movie could be touching at times too. So it was a really good movie. I thought I would enjoy this movie, but I ended up enjoying it more than I thought I would. Like I said, first act moved a little bit too quickly. It was difficult to be invested and felt connected to the character of Elvis Presley at the start. And the directorial style at this first act was kind of in your face and not expected. Some questionable CGI, and it could have been a bit shorter, but other than that, it was really good. And for me, the positives, for the most part, outweighed the negatives of this movie, so I did really enjoy it. I would give this movie an 81%. And if you have seen Elvis, let me know what you thought about it as well. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for some more reviews coming up very soon. I'm going to be seeing Black Adam this week, so I'm going to have a review for that out in a couple of days, as well. I'm hoping to do a review for Werewolf by Night. So stay tuned for those. Until my next review, take care, everybody.